Greetings, mortals, and welcome to a crafting tutorial.
I'm technically live because my record button isn't working for some reason, so I'm just recording this stream that's not really a stream. So, I'm going to be going through the basics of basically crafting a new item and like all the dynamics that go into that. I've been intending to do this for a while. The save files are not great for it. The save file that I'm using is not great for it. I tried downloading someone else's save, and the game crashes when I load up their save. I don't know why, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to use this save, and we will deal. This is an old game crashed. It's fine. This is great. Cut! Cut! I'm not cutting. It's fine. I'm a live streamer, not a video editor, damn it. Okay, so we're loading crafting tutorial. Why is this person facing a different way than they were before? Doesn't matter. Okay. So, first things first, let's check my settings. We want to make sure that damage on friendly units is off for this. This is a very important component of crafting. It's important that you are in a town for reasons that you will see. So, you'll note that not all of the items, but most of my custom items that I've built for myself have level requirements that are higher than my current level. That's because changes were made to the mechanics since the last time I played on these characters, and so all of their gear is incorrect and out of whack. This, that, or the other thing. However, we don't need to worry about that. We're taking this item, which is a good item. We're ignoring the fact that this is a good item because this is just a tutorial for crafting, right? So this item is not a thing that I would normally take things off of, but we're going to basically be doing a crafting tutorial on making like an optimal two-handed weapon. We're using that as a given. So when you're making a crafted item, the things that you're fundamentally looking for are you're going to be... I need another one of those. I don't have enough pearls. Okay. So you're just looking to take a thing of the right type. It doesn't matter what enchants are on it, and that it's not legendary. If you're looking to make an item completely from scratch, which is what we're going to be doing here. So, in terms of order of operations, I don't know that it makes much of a difference which way you do it. I guess it probably makes sense to move the legendary effect over first and then craft it from there. So that's what we're going to do. So this is an axe that is hot garbage, right? It has one normal enchant and a special enchant on it. So in terms of enchantment slots, there are 4 basic enchantment slots. Well, there's 3 basic enchantment slots and a legendary enchantment slot. Okay? So this item here is this gold color because it is a legendary. Well, it's yellow, but close enough. This yellow color means that this is a legendary item. And what that just means is it has the legendary slot filled, right? Now that has other implications. If the legendary slot is filled, if an item is legendary, the maximum that you can raise its stats to is 20% higher. Okay? So if you're using gems, the initial rolls, whatever, the highest values that it can have are 20% higher than a normal item. Okay? So that's a thing to bear in mind. So if I wanted to, can I improve this right now? Can I upgrade you with any of the things that I have? So if I take this, I believe I can. Let's do this quick because this is a useful... I should have saved before I did this, but it's fine. This will be a useful way to describe it. So each of these items, these crafting gems have a maximum power that you can raise an item to. And that max power is multiplied by the depending on the slot. So the autumn modifier value down there is just telling you what the max power is for that kind of item. So rings have a lower value. I believe it's 75%, which I could probably calculate. 11 is about a quarter, so yes. So it's rings I think are 75%. I think you get an extra like 25% or something off of helm, boots, gloves, and bow. Body armor is an extra 50%, and two-handed weapons are double. Anything that isn't on this list, so a one-handed weapon or a bow or a necklace, are just the normal max power, right? The things that are 100% are not actually on here. I don't know what the bonus. Oh, the bonus indicates how much it is going to increase by when you use it, right? Each one will give you a bonus of that much. And these modifiers are further modified by stats. Some stats have lower or higher modifiers to like their effects. So like HP can be put higher than a base stat, for instance. There's an additional modifier on HP. But basically all you're doing is you're throwing, once you have a stat that you want, which we don't, but you'll see why I'm doing this. We can't, so when we right click on this, we can no longer use a Peridot, or a crafting emerald, on this item, right? So the earth resistance is capped out. This is as high as it'll go with that item. If we had a higher tier item in here, we could then get to the cap for that higher tier item. And we will, I guess, show that here. So we're at 54.5. Do this, it's 55.2 now, right? So each tier of these just has a higher maximum that it brings you to, right? Now, are we going to... Yes, we are going to just bring this all the way up to the cap so that you can see how this works. And I actually don't remember how this works. This is why people, when making this kind of content, should be making a video that they can edit and not doing it live, but whatever. So, we're going up to 50-something, probably. We're just getting this capped out. So this is the maximum we can get this up to, 57.6%. This Oracle Orb allows us to peel a legendary effect off of one item and put it onto another item. So that's what we're going to do as our first order of business to show what being legendary does. So this is 57.6%. Again, I don't remember specifically. This now has... This is base enchants are 50% stronger. We need another affix. Do we have another thing? We don't. It doesn't matter. I can't show off, because of the thing that I chose to do, I can't really show off the 20% boost. Don't worry about it. So in addition to the 20%, we'll also have an additional 50%. So it looks like it doesn't bring it to the new cap, but it does increase it by some amount, which is fine. So this is now a legendary, and you'll note that before I couldn't use a thing on it, and even though the base value has increased, it's still not at the cap, right? So because it's legendary, and because it has base enchants on this item are 50% stronger, the stats you can put on this item are higher. You can just get higher stats as a result of that. So our goal right now is going to be to actually make this into stats that we want. So I could hold on to the resists. I like using resists on two-handers because I just do. I just like doing that. We're not going to be doing that. We're going to do something that's more normal for what you would want to do. So let's try to get might on this. And the way that we're going to do that is I'm going to reload because we've kind of screwed ourselves. You'll see. I was wanting to show that when you put the legendary effect onto the item, it will allow you to do things that you couldn't before. I don't need 3 of these because there's only two enchants on this. So this has armor class plus 133 as the current thing on the list. I don't think I can just change that, can I? No. Okay. So this enchant here is basically like, you can treat it like an array of like, when you use an item, it's going to move it along the array. So we are going to do basically the same thing that we did last time, but this time we're going to be keeping an eye on that enchant. So the grayed out color there, that is the thing that will be added if you use an Hourglass of Creation. The other 3 slots, which I should have been talking about earlier, but that's fine. We're now going to talk about the other 3 slots. We have these 2 different items for it. There's a reason that we have 2 Hourglasses of Creation and 1 eye. The other 3 slots are 2 basic enchant slots and 1 special enchant slot. So I'm going to turn off Vampiric Aura and Flame Aura. Who's maintaining Flame Aura? Is it you? Yes. Okay, so we disable that. We disable Vampiric Aura. The reason for that is just it makes things cleaner. You can just see the things that are on this item now, right? So you have 3 enchant slots. The auras show up on the item, but they're not intrinsic to the item. They're just tied to the aura. So what we're looking to do is replace all of these with better affixes, right? So I'm happy to go with either of the dragon as our special or of Doom. I'm happy to do either of those. And I think the best way to handle this right now, I don't need to save, is we are going to... We do need to save. It's fine. We'll save here. It's fine. And what we're going to do is we're going to show what the Scouring Pearls do. Because right now, we can get luck plus 132. And what I'd like to do is be able to have 2 options to choose from. Now, if you have an item that has a normal enchant, you can add either a special enchant or another normal enchant. If an item is ever removed to the point where it only has a special enchant, you cannot. So if this was a special enchant only, which we can just reload until we get that, even though that's bad for us and we'll have to reload again. It's not a problem though. Let's see here. We will do this. And we're probably going to get the same result over and over and over again here, but we might not. Okay, we did not. So if you hold Alt on an item, it'll show the other affixes that are not on there that you could add, right? So if I hold Alt, you see that grayed out personality show up. If I hold Alt, that shows up, the electrical damage, right? This is me holding Alt. If an item only has a special enchant, it cannot be further enchanted. You can't add the other things to it. Maybe you can with an enchant item potion. I don't know. I don't remember. There's potions and stuff like that people were asking me to do it, but I don't use potions, so I don't know what to tell you. Okay, I don't know anything about the alchemy system as it currently exists in game. So what we're looking for right now is to do the same thing that we got the first time, and let's see how long it takes before we actually get back to what we were doing last time. There we go. Perfect. So now we have luck or drain hit points from target to choose from. I don't want either of those. So we're going to save this under crafting 2. This is a core component. You want to make secondary saves so that you don't have to restart the whole process if you put yourself in a corner, which you can do. So what we're going to be doing now is we're just going to be progressing this along. This will follow up with another thing, right? This is personality or of electricity, which we don't care about. And this would be great for a caster. This is of Ascension, which is top tier for a spellcaster, but we don't need it for our purposes. And the other thing is that we also have Ascension Emeralds. We'll deal with those later. Hopefully we don't need to. I'm now realizing that I have put myself in a position where I need a shit ton of items to make shit work. Can I reset what you look like if I give you a legendary? Is there a reason I didn't put the legendary on first? I don't think so, right? And yes, making this legendary does not move the RNG along. Alright, so next on our agenda is just continuing to tag this until we get one of those two affixes to what we want. This is of darkness. I like of darkness. And because of the fact that I don't want to spend a huge amount of time on this tutorial, we're just going to take of darkness. Okay? So what that means is we take this item. This allows us to add a special enchant, so that's that third slot that has unique properties to it. Pick that up, just slap that over there. So now we have earth resistance and drain hit points from target and increased weapon speed. Now what we're looking for is to advance this along until we get might. Because I'm just gonna go for double might because that's like a classic that people like to do. And we will continue shooting for double might. We will continue shooting for double might. Okay, we're done with these. I wanted everything to be consolidated to one inventory, but, you know, sometimes in life you make bad decisions. Alright, so we're moving this here. And actually...
I can't fit anymore.
This is not supposed to be an inventory management. Don't look at the inventory. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the inventory. It's fine. I don't have 6,000 extra rings for no reason. You know what? It's because I knew I was doing a crafting tutorial, so I knew that I might need a bunch of items in my inventory. Don't worry about it. Don't look at my streams. It's fine. Okay. We're getting incredibly bad luck here, actually. We're getting, like, the same options over and over again, which is kind of weird, but it's fine. Personality, speed, and... okay. So each time we're doing this, we are pushing the... we're basically just doing another thing. We're just pulling it along the thing. Unfortunately, we're not getting anything that we need from this. So we're going to start increasing the item level. This crafting cube increases the level of the item. That increases for a weapon or armor, either the base damage or the base armor of the item. In addition, I should have done of the dragon because you can't really show it off that well with this, but I can show it off with this item. So see how this is 965 to 1930? Oh, this can't have a crafting cube applied. Shit. The special affixes, if they scale, so this does a specific amount of damage. If they scale, the damage of that affix will go up. If you have something like of darkness, it increases the base damage, which is the way that the enchantment scales. The enchantment itself doesn't change. It still does the same percentage heat drained and the same weapon speed increase, right? So just bear in mind that you're not double dipping on the damage. You're getting the extra damage and the base damage. You don't also get additional attack speed, right? So that's an important thing to know about the of darkness stuff, is that you're just getting the bonus damage once. You're not getting it twice. That might matter for some people who are more interested in the fiddly bits. Can you please... there we go. We got might. So finally we get might. So when we use this item, we can add a base item, a base enchant here, right? So now we have 225 might. Presumably because the base enchants are 50% stronger, so it was showing the base value, not the value that was modified by the enchant on the item. Perfect. So now we have a might plus 225 and 73% earth resistance item. And we don't need that shit. That's crazy. We don't need anything like that. So what we're doing is we're saving this again. We're saving under crafting 2 because that's what we're doing. And we are going to reload. Most of the crafting stuff isn't that RNG tied, but the crafting cubes are annoying. The crafting cubes are tied to RNG. We did get the RNG that we needed. If the RNG is sticky, which I'm not necessarily going to be able to easily demonstrate here, if you keep getting the same result every single time you reload, which I haven't gotten, but if you get like, you're trying to get rid of slot 2 and you keep getting slot 1 or 3 10 times in a row, what you're going to want to do is walk up to a peasant and just press A few times. This will call the game's RNG values so that you're getting a fresh set of possibilities. With a lot of video games, the way that it handles RNG is you'll have like a seed, and that seed can only have so many outcomes, right? So when it's calling the random value here, the seed is saved on the save file, or is somewhere in RAM. I don't know where it is. I don't know how it works. I just know how to get around it. It doesn't matter the specifics of how it works. Okay. But basically, the seed is handled either by RAM or somewhere else. I would assume that it's in the save file itself, where the seed is. Calling a random number is going to move the seed around all willy-nilly. So just throw a few calls to the random number generator that's attacking things, doing anything that involves like randomness, and that will refresh your ability to get the thing. So just do a random number of attacks every reload. You'll get it within the first 10 attempts if you have a fresh RNG seed. That's something just to worry about if you just keep getting the same result on peeling the item off. With the other bit, with this bit, this part isn't really random. I think that there's abilities to change it. I'll have to do some change. Do I want to do testing with that right now? I could do testing with that right now. So it doesn't matter. For right now, what we're going to worry about is getting this battle axe finished. Okay, so we need to figure out what our highest tier gem is. This gets the job done. Or lowest tier gem. You want to use the lowest gem that will work. So you just go through your things that you think are too low, and you just check them. And if they work, then you go, oh shit, maybe I went too high, and you check the one below that. And if it doesn't work, then you go up to the next one. But you always want to be using your weakest gems whenever you are checking things. Whatever the weakest thing that you can use. And it's just based off of what the current stats are. So we're looking to get double might. And we ran out of gems again. And that's fine. We can keep pumping the level of this. And hopefully we get to where we're going to go with that. And if we don't, we might, in fact... We are getting a lot of the same stats. Oh, right! Resists aren't in the table anymore. I forgot. Oh, you just can't use a cube if you're already above your level. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, we're going to reload this. And I want to check something. So if I reload this, I believe I will consistently get... there are different things. Basically, there's different orders of operations you can use. The way that I think of it is you basically have an array of numbers. So you have like a bunch of different numbers. So like at 1, you have luck. At 2, you have speed. At 3, you have armor class. At 4, you have int. Like you have all these randomly assigned numbers. At 5, you have armor class again, right? Like this isn't like it's 1 through 6 over and over again. This is like there's just a string of potential results, and those are mostly hard coded to the item as it currently exists. However, at each time you add an item to it, you are changing the result. So in theory, let's take a look here. This is int. If we do this, it goes to armor class. Is it going to do it again if I just reload? Because traditionally speaking, that has been the case. Yes. So it's going to go to that armor class, and I think it's going to go to that armor class every time. Yes. So it goes to armor class when I do that. Now I'm going to check something because I'm curious. I haven't actually tried to do this. It doesn't change anything. This is just an array that's saved to the item. There are ways to manipulate that, but I don't know how to do it. So we're going back to the start, though, because if I do that, I get to armor class. If I do this, I get to luck. And that's a different result, right? So think of it as like the next like several hundred options are lined out in front of you. And as you increase the thing, you're going to land on specific values, right? As I said, like number 1 is this, number 2 is this, number 3 is this, number 4 is that. Different items are giving you a boost of different amounts to that thing, which means that if you go, I believe if I use both of those, I'll always get luck no matter which order I do it in, but let's confirm on that. So if I use a crafting emerald, I get to armor class. If I do this, I get speed. And I think I had just used the thing. If I do this, I get luck, and then I use this and get to the speed. The reason I'm getting to speed is because the crafting emerald is increasing by some amount, and the crafting cube is increasing by some amount. And when you combine those two, it doesn't matter which order you did them in, you're getting a different value. Or sorry, you're getting the same value, right? You're setting, it's, 3 plus 4 and 4 plus 3 are both equal to 7, right? However, what you can do is rather than just combining those willy-nilly, you'll recall that the last time what we did was we went through the line with a shit ton of crafting emeralds, getting it to max, and then doing crafting sapphires, getting it to max, and then starting to use a crafting cubes. What if we use one crafting cube, and then we go through the crafting emeralds? This should give us an off by 1 set of the swing of the matrix, right? So it's like instead of going 3, 6, 9, we're going 4, 7, 10. So each value in the array, we're going to be looking at a different number, in theory. This is all based off of me just, observing how this all behaves, and this is how I'm assuming it's working behind the scenes. It's how I'm internalizing it. It seems to work fine, right? Look, I'm not crazy. That's a might. There you go. So if you're not getting the result that you want immediately, you go, I'm burning through a lot of resources and I did not get what I need, right? You just reload back to before you started this stage of the process, and you use one crafting cube. You use one ascension emerald, right? I believe this ascension emerald will change this value. It sure does. So what we're going to do is we're going to reload back, and in theory, we should be able to get that same result again. And we sure do. So that is how to manipulate. That's how to get the stat that you actually want. Is you just sort of okay, this is going to pick a random stat each time. How do we get the actual random stat to be the correct stat? And then you add this. And once you've done that, you have created the axe that you want, right? So we could have made this of the dragon. The different ones are of different values depending on the circumstances. Generally speaking, if I have vampiric aura, I tend to lean toward just using of the dragon rather than having an additional sort of vampirism, because of the dragon does a really large amount of damage. Generally speaking, other than that, if I don't have vampiric aura in the party, I like to have one of darkness and one of the dragon. And how much damage each of those will do will vary depending on the content patch. I haven't done the math on that, but it kind of future-proofs against changes. Those two enchants are both going to be very strong and solid no matter what. But that's the basic gist for that. Once you have all of this set up, you then, if you're making a weapon, you want to use Ascension Emeralds, which increases the tier of the item, right? So this is now a Herdsman's Axe. Is there a higher tier than that? Because I should have I didn't realize that I was only one tier away from the top. Mistakes were made. I guess I could just reload. This is the highest. Okay, so in addition to item level, like in addition to using crafting cubes, you can also, so we have to do the thing. So 1, 2, 3. That gets us to the might again, and then we do this. Perfect. So this is plus 9. This is 3d83 plus 90. Turns into 3d88 plus 98. So this will increase the scaling of the item. This is very solid. This increases basically like the base stat total that it's going to have. Like rather than using crafting cubes, you can improve it with that. And does that increase the required level? Let's find out. So I'm also going to do this way now because I think it should get me the same result, and it sure does. And let's see, this is 190. So it looks like it does change the level requirement a little bit, but not by as much as it would cost to increase it by a similar increment. So it's most cost effective for your weapons and your armor to be at the highest tier they can be, which is to say going between like the wooden stick versus the wizard staff, right? The each in the original game, that base tier of the item was the only thing that gave you the base damage. In this, you have an item level and things like that obfuscate how big of a difference there is between the base weapons, but that's the basic gist. So when you're making your weapons, the basic process is you figure out what legendary affix you want to have on it. By the way, you might just find a legendary that you want to use, and you just use you want different stats on it. Functionally, it's the same whether you're creating a new legendary or you're using an existing one, right? You're just looking to figure out what are the stats that I want on this. You peel off the stats that you do not want, and then you just cycle through to get to the stats that you want to have on it. Are there any other things that are relevant to crafting? I don't really think so. Honestly, I think that basically covers it. So that'll allow you to get, items that are exactly the stats that you want, and do what you want them to accomplish. I unfortunately can't equip this to compare, but it wouldn't matter anyway because it's required level 280, so it's going to be... It has a substantially higher base value. Yeah, so that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully it was useful. If I need to remake this video later because I missed something incredibly important, people can complain to me in the comments or on Discord or wherever. And sorry it took me so long to make this video. I've been trying to get on a clean file that has a thing, but I'm never going to have that file, so it's fine. And I was suggested a file on Discord, and for whatever reason the game crashes when I go into the inventory, so I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, later folks.